This production is sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. With an average turnaround time of 3 weeks, if you want your house sold quickly, then contact Stefan today on 01942 356 577. Quote Super League Raw for 33% off. So welcome along, Thursday afternoon, 6 o'clock live. Here we go, Captain's Run, just 2 hours away from the commencement of Round 8 Rivals Round. Mr. Sale, what are you making of that?
Yeah, it's going to be another good one. I've seen they published the stats saying all the viewing figures are up and the social media engagements are up. So really positive. And obviously with Rivals Round, some sellouts at the MKM, sellouts at the Brick. Big crowd expected for Lee Warrington, big crowd tonight, Wakefield. It's all, I think Headingley is going to be another one where it should be a decent crowd there as well. So, yeah, really looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, good to see Bazza Kingston, Tony Pennington, Fraser Howard and Greg Roach already in watching us live. Of course, many will catch up a little bit later on, a couple of hours away. I had to chuckle. If you haven't seen it, the Paul Rowley press conference when he was first question, Rivals Round, he went, yeah, our good rivals, the Catalan Dragons, which I found quite amusing, I have to say. Bit different. We've put on our website, this is brand new, by the way, for members and for everybody, really. What we're going to do is, and we'll keep updating it, your one-stop shop for all the press conferences. If you go onto our website, there is a blog there today with every press conference for every game on one post that you can watch on the website. You don't have to go anywhere. They're all there. So Rowley, you've got Adrian Lamb, you've got John Cartwright, you've got them all. They're all there, one after the other. So if you want to hear it from the horse's mouth, no clickbait, no sensationalism, just what have the coaches said, then what you need to do on a Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, keep your eye on that post. We'll keep updating it. Once we finish with this show tonight, I'm going to update it. Elliot Minchella has done a press conference, so that'll get added to the Robins one. It's the one place for you guys to go. You sure you don't want to give me another yellow Dave just for turning up? No, Bazza, you're perfectly welcome, sir. Perfectly welcome to come along, my friend. Don't you worry about that. Bazza still holding a grudge. Marvellous. Earl Crabtree's predictions. Earl has come through. Trinity 1-8, FC 1-8. Interesting. Wigan 1-8. Rhinos 9-17, Leopards 1-8, and Dragons 9-17. So those are the official predictions for round number 8 from Earl Crabtree. The FC one's a biggie.
Yeah, it's a massive call, isn't it? Massive
I went that way. And that's me and Earl. Only me and Earl have backed FC. But
just to rub it in Baz a bit there even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, Baz. He'll turn off now, won't he? Anyway, not to worry. Well, let's get into it as we always do. So, like I say, if you want to see the press conferences, get onto the website, go and watch them verbatim. Outstanding. And the good thing about that as well is you can catch today's, and then tomorrow morning, if you want, you can catch the Friday games. You know where to go. Get the inside track from the horse's mouth, from the players and from the coaches. Here at Super League Raw, we don't do sensationalism. Get it from the horse's mouth. Get it from inside the camp. Outstanding. Allow me and Steph now to do the talking. Here we go. Let's get into it. Here we go. This is tonight. Wakefield Trinity taking on the Castleford Tigers. Just in case you missed this, and you'll catch this in the press conferences, believe it or not, Tom Johnstone has never been in the winning team against Castleford Tigers for Wakefield Trinity. That's an interesting one for you. Castleford have won, here's one for you, on their last 9 visits to Wakefield.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Trinity's last home win against the Tigers was a 36-32 on the 8th of September 2013.
Wow.
I know. Hey, that's why you're tuning in. This is what it's all about. Something tells me that hoodoo could be broken, though, this evening. Massive stuff. 10th, of course, against 8th in this one. You've got the stats on the screen. History going the way of the Tigers. You'd expect that. 4-1 the last 5 meetings. The form, 3 losses coming into this, the Tigers. 2 wins, of course, were in the last 5 for Trinity against Wakey and against Lee and against Warrington. Tries scored 23-16 I think that's the wrong way around. I'm guessing that's the wrong way. I can't buy that. Even I'm not buying that. Is that right? Yeah, it's the wrong way around. 23 to Castleford, 16 to Wakey. The tackle efficiency, 92 plays 88. Conversions pretty much even. Penalties, as you'd expect for these two teams, pretty high. Wakey, in terms of discipline, 3 yellows for Castleford, 1 for Wakey this season, Steph, thus far. What I would say as well, before I bring you in for your first little dig on this one, is in terms of averages, let's just get back into the averages for a moment. Averages this year in attack for Wakey, 13.4 points per game, 18.2 for Cass. That can't be right. That's got to be the other way around. I'm in a area. Defense 26.7, 17.7 in terms of the average again. So that 17.7, of course, is for Wakey. I've done it the wrong way around here because I put it on Wakey when I said he's Wakey at home. So it's 18.2 for Trinity, 13.4 for Cass, and 17.7 leaked by Trinity per game, 26.7 for Cass. So all bar history would point to a Wakey win.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just before we go any further, Dave, breaking news. Lee Leopards have signed prop Joe Offahange, I think that's how you pronounce it, from the Parramatta Eels.
Yeah, that's been rumoured all day. So that's finally broke.
Just been announced 8 minutes ago. So good news for Lee bolstering the pack. Yeah, it's I think history goes out the window on this one, Dave, in terms of the way Wakefield are playing and the way Castleford are playing. If Wakefield play like they did in the last 20 minutes against St Helens, then it's going to be a really difficult night for Castleford, I feel. Obviously, Cass have got 2 new signings potentially coming in this one in Desiree and Salabio.
Yep.
So whether those 2 plays is going to be really interesting. I know they made the 21-man squad. Obviously, no Tom O'Mone just yet for the Tigers.
Which is a blessing for Wakey because they
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. But what it is it's a local derby, and we all know in derby games the intensity and the passion come out. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm looking forward to sitting down with a bottle of wine and watching this one tonight, mate.
Well, I've already started my bottle of red, which I'm quite enjoying. I don't mind saying, Mr. Roach, it's a 2021, sir, from the wonderful place this is Italy, and it will be washing down a nice spaghetti bolognese made by my own very fair hands. I just need to let Mr. Roach know that, a man of his stature and class, he'd want to know that I was looking after myself. Anyway, let's get into the 2 squads. Here we go. Josh Griffin pictured there for Wakey Trinity. Josh is back, which is good news. A couple of things on this. Renford Tony, he's if he plays tonight, that's 100 career appearances for him. Cameron Scott, he'll make his 100th career appearance as well if he plays. And Liam Hood would make his 100th Super League appearance. So a couple of centuries there, 3 centuries for the Wakefield boys, which is good to see. And you're right, Steph, in the 21-man squad, they've got Kershaw, of course, who's on loan from KR. They've got Salabio, they've got Desiree, and of course they've got Okuro as well. So quite a few loan signings in there to bolster the squad. This is a massive improvement for Cass because I think now they've got a bit of genuine bulk in Desiree. I think Okuro looks a big unit as well.
Yeah.
And this might just bring their backs more into the game. We know they've got the backs. I mean, if you look at that too, you've got Gary, Sinny Wood, there, you've got Assy, you've got Josh Sim, who's a great player on the wing. Got no issues with that. Simmy will probably be on the right. Gary might get a game as well. So if they do play these new loan signings and these loan signings hit the ground running, because they've got the potential to do exactly that, we might see more of the backs, and this might be closer than many would think.
Yeah, and then those loan signings in Salabio or Desiree are going to want to be making a point, aren't they, to their parent clubs? So, we've been crying out for prop forward and a bit of muscle in the Castleford pack. Well, they definitely added to that, and then add O'Mone to the mix. They're going to be a very interesting side to see what happens in the next few weeks. But on the flip side of that, look how healthy Wakefield are getting now. Max Jewett coming back into the team, Cam Scott, Corey Hall. They're massive players for Wakefield, and ones that when they were playing really well and claiming some scalps were performing really well for them. So I think Jowett's a massive one for their attacking threat because they're already really good attacking. And when he's put into the mix, as good a job as Rourke did, Jowett, I think, is just that little bit better, especially more accustomed to the way Wakefield play. So I'd expect a really attacking squad tonight from Wakefield and some fabulous tries on display.
I feel a little bit sorry for Josh Rourke. I don't think Josh Rourke has let him down, has he? And obviously he's going to be missing. We're thinking he's going to, unless they put him out onto the wing.
They might play him in, they might not put Walmsley in. I think obviously Johnstone's going to play, so they may put him on the wing instead of Walmsley. But it's going to be an interesting one because are all those players that are coming back on that squad they're going to play? Probably not. I'd expect one of the three what I mentioned. Jowett, Scott, or Hall not to play in this one, but we'll see. It's a really interesting squad selection, and so just going to add to the drama of what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, Baz also saying there's a hoodoo of Wakey not winning at home this season as well. So history and that hoodoo in terms of their home form. But someone just tells me that this could be the night for Wakey at home. And I have to say, if they're going to get a first win at home, I think the Wakey faithful would quite enjoy it being against Castleford. There's no doubt about that. I think, again, I'll tell you where my head's at in terms of this game, where it could potentially be won and lost in a minute. But I think we've got two really interesting and exciting second rowers in Simbican and Nicotimo going up against each other. I'm really looking forward tonight to seeing Nicotimo for another 80 minutes because we were waxing lyrical about him in pre-season, thinking that he could be a really good signing for him, and I think he will be. So I'm really, impressed with him. I've been impressed with Regana as well for Wakey this year. So I think, there's a lot there. And like I say, it's this little bit about can Castleford get their backs into the game? And it's no surprise. I mean, you stole the thunder a little bit, but that's fine. This for me is where it's won and lost for Cass if Cass are going to win it. It's these two incoming players who will play more so Desiree, I think, than Salabio. I mean, what I would say, Desiree's 3 appearances, and they have been bit part appearances. But that said, in those 3 appearances, we're probably talking circa 60 minutes of play maximum for Desiree this season. 42 tackles in that time, 100% efficiency, 8 busts, 19 carries, 119 metres. That is what Cass have been missing. A genuine bruising enforcer down the middle. And if he plays and he can put a shift in, and I think they've got to play a Coro as well, if they give those 2 lads their head, it could cause Wakey a bit of trouble down the middle. And that, for me, is the only way that Castleford take the 2 points. They've got to somehow gain something in the middle to give the likes of Assey and Milner a bit of ball. We know they've got the backs to do something in Texoy and the likes. That's where it's won and lost. It's these middle units. That's the difference. If they play well, Cass have got a chance.
Yeah, and they need to go toe-to-toe with this Wakefield pack. And I've been really impressed with Wakefield's forwards. They were fantastic against Lee in both games. And this is 2 big signings for Castleford. Obviously, the Amon one to come in as well, as we mentioned earlier. And that could be the difference in Cass getting a few more wins. Obviously, I don't think they're a playoff side, even with these new signings. I think the Cass fans won't be upset with me saying that. They're realistic. But I think Cass fans would gladly take a victory over Wakefield tonight in exchange for the poor start to the season. I think it'll give them motivation with this new look side and these new players coming in to really kick on. So that's why it's going to be so intriguing tonight to see how they fit in and see if they can match what is a very good Wakefield side.
Absolutely. And of course, let's don't forget those guys that are watching this live and the ones that will watch it a bit later on this evening. Remember, the referral program is now in. We want more people watching the Captain's Room. We want more people watching our programs behind the wall. Please do refer your friends and family to us. And, you get a £10 referral credit against your own membership, which is absolutely marvellous. Let's grow together here at Super League Raw. Right, okay. Now let's get into a very juicy, very tantalising Good Friday. It's a great Friday for the neutral, no doubt about that. Not necessarily for the people involved. Starting off, of course, at the sold-out MKM Stadium. Oh, yes. Atmosphere galore. Superb stuff. And look at this. If it wasn't only first against second, 24 apiece, Steph. 24 apiece in Super League history. You couldn't write it. Of course, the recent history has gone the way of the Robins 4-1. Of course, the Robins, that first L of the season for them. Great form, Hull FC in Super League coming into this game. Can't fault it. Try scored going in the way of KR. Look at the tackle efficiency. Both defences doing well. Conversion efficiency going the way of Hull KR. But the penalty count, that's got to be a concern for John Cartwright. 41-27. Just give you a bit of analysis on this. In terms of attack, they're averaging 18.4 a game, FC, to 26.7. So that goes in the way of KR. And then defensively, as you would expect, FC leaking 17.7 points a game to 10.2. So, there's no doubt about it, even though coming into the game, FC are in great form in Super League and have a better record over the last 5 games. Everything would point, perhaps, in terms of point scoring, etc., to KR. Tom Davies has scored tries in the last 5 games against Hull FC. I don't know who you've gone for and you accumulate. We'll do that a bit later in the show. But yeah, if you like a little bit of Tom Davies, ladies and gentlemen, he scored in the last 5 appearances against FC. That's a stat for you, Mr. Sale.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. He's been on form against them, definitely. And I think Rugby League World's looking forward to this rematch, isn't it, already? And it's only round 8 and we're rematches already, which is fantastic, obviously, with the cup game. It's again going to be a massive atmosphere at this one. FC are going to want to right the wrongs of that defeat in the Challenge Cup, and obviously KR will be smarting from their loss to Wigan. So yeah, interesting. It's a sellout at 21,000. I always thought the MKM was 25,000, but maybe they just wanted to match the biggest derby in Rugby League in Wigan and Saints.
Well, or maybe they've just got to make sure that the bit that separates them is quite large. I don't know. But Jacob Dale, good lad, biggest Hull derby since 2 weeks ago. But I do think, and I said this in Weekly, I do think that this one, I think this will be a better game. I think that FC are a couple of more games down the track. Will Price is a couple more games down the track at second row. Cade Cust, of course, was missing in that quarter-final. He'll be there this week. So for me personally, I'm expecting, and I hope, please do deliver FC when I say this. I hope that FC do deliver in that respect and they do give us a really great game. I mean, let's take a look at the 21-man squads. Here they are. Denis Balnforth returning. He featured in the reserves against Warrington the Friday before the game. Of course, Hugo Slabio has gone off to the Tigers. Noah Booth and Aribi Duro have dropped out alongside Mickey McAlorum as well. He's out there. But as you can see, Mikey Lewis returns to the 21-man squad for KR. Hopefully not rush back. I think, again, you look back at that Wigan game last week, you do think had Lewis been on, I'm not saying they'd have won, but he could have been that ingredient that did get him the 2 points.
Yeah, I think a lot of this game, if Mikey Lewis isn't playing, then I think obviously that increases FC's chances of being a lot closer, if not getting a win. Obviously, Lytton had an absolute blinder when Mikey went off, but in the Challenge Cup game. But I think Lewis is key to it, and like you say, Cust coming back for FC is massive. We saw how good he was against Warrington, and that's a huge one for them. And I think Leon Price at fullback was outstanding against Warrington as well. He's got, like you say, another couple of games under his belt since they last played, so he's going to be a big factor in this game also. So I think it's one, again, there's so many where I'm going to say this tonight, but it could go in either way, couldn't it? It just, you wouldn't be surprised if either one won, which is crazy given how much of a letdown the last game was in terms of how competitive we wanted it to be. I think everyone's just praying that this isn't a repeat of last time and we actually get the main course this time rather than the starter.
Well, and I think we've been crying out for it, haven't we? I mean, the Hull derby has been a bit of a damp squid now for the last couple of seasons, and I think we're crying out for a barnstormer. We really, really are. And it's torture for the two sides involved and their supporters. Of course it is, but from a neutral perspective, this is one of those games that you look forward to because you know what's riding on it. It's very, very similar to what like the Saints and Wigan affairs. You know, you just know it. The atmosphere is going to be there. The stadium's going to be full. It's going to come over on the TV really, really well. You're just praying that what happens on the field matches what goes on around it. And I don't know, there's something that's telling me that perhaps this is that game this week. This could be that game that breathes the life that I think is needed in the Hull derby. We need a competitive FC. I've been really impressed with the way Cartwright's been progressing his squad. They seem to be getting better and better with every single game. And I think on home soil as well, they will be a really good test for KR because, of course, KR have got to bounce back from that Wigan defeat. And again, you know, I'm not saying that the KR could go and do again what they did in the Challenge Cup. It's more than possible. But in defeat, test teams. It's the first time this season that they've tasted that. And the fact that it was 4 on a row against Wigan, that's got to loom large in the memory. They'll want to get back on track pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how they do get back on track, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a great point. You know, it goes one way or the other, doesn't it? Yeah, the sows the seed of doubt, and you know they've been on a fantastic run of KR. You know, unbeatable. Some people were saying at some point in this season already. Obviously, that's now gone, so it can be a monkey off the back also as well. That they have got that loss out of the way, and they can now just move forward. So it's how the KR players react to that. Bazza makes a great point in the chat in terms of FC've not won at home, a bit like Wakefield since July last year. You know, that's a crazy start, isn't it? But given how well FC are playing, but that's how quickly things can change because we're very easily forgetting how bad they were last season because of how good they play in this season. So let's just hope that the FC we've seen this season really comes to this game. Another great point he's made there is about the second rowers for Hull FC. Obviously with Cartwright being out as well. That's
yeah, but on that point, Hardacre and Chamberlain more than deputised against Warrington. I mean, it's interesting here, isn't it? You'd have thought that Baz had known that type of thing about Waker. I just hope that he changes his shirt, you know, for the Hull FC game. And his second comment is bamboozling me. We've not lost back-to-back since 2023. Is he talking Trin or is he talking KR? I really don't know. But anyway, that's by the by. That's by the by. But no, look, I thought. I mean, I saw them at close quarters last week, so it's probably only right and appropriate that I chip in where FC are concerned. I was impressed. I thought they were a together unit. There's clearly, he's clearly developed a togetherness within that squad. John Asiata was different gravy. And what I would say to Bazza, Dawn Kirkby, any of the KR mob, you know, just watch John Asiata when FC are in possession. Just watch what he's doing. Watch his organisation. Most times he's first receiver. If Asiata's on, and I think what we also saw, which is clever, is that, you know, he did... I mean, we all laughed, didn't we, at the cucumber sandwiches on Weekly that Caesar got points. It was outstanding the way that he went, no, we'll go Cust. They'll be expecting Caesar will go Cust. And again, that keeps defences on its toes. What are they going to do in this game? Well, one thing's for certain, Asiata will dictate it, whatever's going to happen. So I think, you know, John Asiata's one to watch. I get Baz's point about Zach Hardacre and Chamberlain. If you actually, after the show, if you go and check out their interviews on our website, because they've come out as a pair in the press conference, they attributed themselves really, really well in second row. But what I was impressed with, like I say, was the togetherness. I think what we know about John Cartwright is he looks like he's a coach who can really play to the weakness of the opposition. I thought the way he played to Warrington's right, with knowing Ashton was on one leg, knowing that Curry was in centre, that first half did a lot of pain on that side. So that's, you know, there's a lot of times when we sit on here and on Weekly and we're like, you know, coaches, have they got a plan B and this, that, the other? I think what we're seeing with John Cartwright is he can set his team up for a game really well.
Yeah, and what I would say on John Cartwright is they got battered off Wigan at home and then went to Wigan and did a job on them in that second half at Wigan. Mm-hmm. So for people who are thinking Hull KR can just steamroll them like they did in the Challenge Cup, that should be a warning shot to them that, you know, the team we class as the greatest at the moment in Wigan can go and do a job on them at their own place, but then FC react once they've learned what Wigan did in that first game and go and knock them out of the Challenge Cup. So there's no reason why they couldn't do that to KR, given the KR Wigan result last week. So it's all, ifs, buts, and maybes. But I think your point on Asiata's the one, and it's going to be a really good matchup that between Minchella, who is also one of the best 13s in the comp, are them two going to try and cancel each other out. But it's no coincidence that Cust and Caesar, two players that were very underwhelming at the clubs they were Super League clubs they were at previously, are now looking like really good standoffs. And I think that's a lot down to John Asiata's distribution and time that he's given them.
Absolutely. Bazza showing his colours in the chat. Bazza, Wakefield and blue, mate. Blue, not red. Blue.
It's red, white, and blue.
Well, red, white.
The Trinity.
Yeah. You've got to get your colours right, mate. Blue. But Dawn's got a Roosters shirt in solidarity. Right, let's get into now. Look, we said on Weekly, didn't we? I said on Weekly that I was really, Sam Walters bossed the middle. We were all surprised on that. Credit to Sam Walters. And I said that, as impressive and as deep as the forward unit of KRR, Sue, we're at Hargreaves, you've got Whitbread there as well. Brown comes in and does a job as well. I was disappointed in their individual efforts, and I said that very seldom are these players getting over 100 meters. That none of them are doing what like Wormsley's are doing, SASA's are doing, etc. And it was announced this week that JWH was retiring. Something tells me he might just want to tell the world just how good he is, because this is the perfect tonic for JWH for me. I think he'll be well revved up. He's already had a taste of Herman SASA. And we know that JWH is a world class. He's been an incredible player. He's retiring at the end of the year.
Yeah,
he will surely want to put a marker down. Because quite frankly, at the moment, this is I can't believe I'm saying this. And again, youth versus experience. This is a non-contest on paper.
Yeah.
And I think that might just spark a bit of life into JWH going into this game. I mean, no stats don't lie. I mean, look at it. It's a gulf in difference between Herman SASA and JWH. But if JWH gets up for this could be barnstorming. And what we know is these two players, whoever wins this battle, won't win the game, but it's the impact it has on the rest of the team. Because when your forwards get on top, it lifts everybody around you. So I think perhaps for the first time this season, this is a real test in Super League for JWH, and I think he's got to deliver.
Yeah, 100%. And the good thing from a KR perspective is you'd like to think those players are going to be really smarting from last week. That will have hurt them in front of that sold out crowd at home. They should be wanting to right the wrongs of that, and they don't need that to get them fired up. I think it's just another thing that's going to help. So I think this is going to be a real, like we mentioned, Minchella and Asiata. This battle is going to be a massive one as well. So it's like the touch paper, isn't it, at the MKM?
Well, I can't wait for this. I mean, these are the contests that, what I'm like. I love the flair. I do. I love a great try on the edges and all of that. But there's just something about two middle units going hammer and tongue, and I just hope that this delivers. Because if it does, oh yes, outstanding. I mean, all I would say is they're going to need to bring people into the MKM for the foundations the next day if these two get it on, because it'll be absolutely outstanding. Marvin Gaye, I can hear you now. Come on, let's get it on. Beautiful stuff. Let's hope that they absolutely deliver. I mean, I've gone FC, you've gone KR. It could be toss a coin. I think this is a really good test for both teams, and we're going to learn a lot about both teams, Steph, as a consequence of this game.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's not a must-win for FC.
No, it's not for KR either.
No, I don't think it's a must-win for them. But what it will do is, if FC can win, that is a massive marker down to the rest of the league that they are, because. Yes, they had that great win at Wigan, and that sent a bit of a, all right, they are a team who deserve a bit of respect here. But I think this one would probably go to that next level in terms of how consistent KR have been this season. and also for local bragging rights and getting the fans on board. I mean, I'm sure the FC fans are already delighted with what they've seen so far this season. This would be the cherry on the top, wouldn't it? You know, in terms of the start of the season.
Don't know what game you were watching there, Jacob lad. I thought SASA was pretty potent in that quarter final. Did he get a try?
SASA scored, yeah.
Yeah. 6 in a row. Herman SASA. Come on, Jacob lad. You're watching Super League Raw. You know what I mean? We'll get into the details straight away when you put a comment up, mate. Don't worry about that. We know our stuff. Wow. No. I mean, here's one for you. Can SASA go 7 from 7?
Yeah, that's it. He's on some run with his try scoring, isn't he? So
he is. Is he in bets accumulator? Steph's accumulator. We'll see at the end of the show. Right. Good luck to both teams. Please, please, please deliver. And the two supporters, sing loud, sing proud. And remember, at the end of the day, it's only a game of rugby league. Win and lose with humility and with class is what I would say. And the same goes for this one. What a game this is going to be. Now, just delivers time and time again. This is what we want to see. Wigan Warriors taking on St. Helens. Massive game this for Paul Wellens. If they are to lose, it's the manner of the defeat. It's the manner of the defeat. If they are going to get a loss here. If they was to get, dare I say it, what happened last year at Magic done to him, I think Wellens is the amount of flack he's going to get. He's going to be unbelievable. I mean, it couldn't be. I mean, Saints at the moment, 48-42. The last 3 meetings, 3-2 to Wigan. Both teams coming into the game with 2 wins behind them. 41-38 tries. I mean, unbelievable. We did the quiz, didn't we, last night? And after that incredible start to the season, the try-scoring fest that Saints enjoyed over Salford, they've been reined back in by Wigan. 41 tries to 38. Wigan a better attacking side this season than St. Helens thus far. Tackle efficiency, can't split them. Kicking, can't split them. Penalties, as expected. Saints 10 more than Wigan. Really interesting. 4 draws, of course, in the history of these two teams coming head-to-head. It's 3rd against 4th. Beautiful. We've just done 1st against 2nd. Now we're doing 3rd against 4th. Absolutely marvellous. The attack in this game, like I say, does it favour Wigan? For me personally, I think Wigan look more dangerous this season, Steph. I think we go as far as to say that. I think they do look a lot better. They're also better in defence. That goes in their favour as well. The last 3 Good Friday games last season, Saints 12, Wigan 4. Who can forget that, of course, when we had a couple of indiscretions from the likes of Tyler Dupree, etc., that opened the door for big Conrad Hall, who won't be there. The year before, in 2023, it was 14-6 to Wigan on home soil. And then the year before that, it was St. Helens 22-4 win. Interesting, the last 3 have gone to the home team. That's an interesting one as well. Interesting stats. Your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, it's another really intriguing game. Like I said, 3rd v 4th. I think for me, we were just mentioning about the back line of Wigan and the back line of Saints. The difference for me is this is Wigan's normal back line. They're not making changes, where I think Saints are still experimenting, i.e. putting Sailor at fullback and Wellesby at 6. The young lad who they had playing at 7 for them. Is Harry Robertson out for this one?
Robertson's gone, and so's Batchelor.
So Robertson is massive. He's been on the field for Saints. That's when Saints have looked really good. It's a huge loss for them.
Oh, James Bell as well. Steph Bell's out as well.
Bell's out as well, yeah. So, but is this Percival coming back? He didn't play last week, did he, Percival?
Percival's back. Percival's back. Batchelor, there's a doubt. He is in the 21, but there is a doubt over Joe Batchelor. That, again, if you go to the website after the show, see what Paul Wellens has had to say in anticipation of this game. Batchelor is a doubt, but they're going to give him every chance to play.
Yeah, well, if you compare that with the Wigan back line, it's going to be, Jaifield, Miskey, Wardle, Marshall, and Eckersley, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
and then Harry Smith and Bevan French in the halves. That is frightening in terms of an attacking team for anybody to face. And I just think the big difference in this one is going to be that disjointed, square pegs round holes bit at the moment with Saints attacking back line. I think they'll be okay defensively. It's more the attacking play where you need time to know that player is going to be there. I think from a fan's perspective, the Saints fans, I think they would take a loss against Wigan as long as it's a loss in the right manner and it's a close game and there's, effort there and that kind of thing. It's when you get to a 20, 30 point margin, that may be when we get the calls for Wellens again. But it's kind of, they sat in fourth place. It's not like they're having a bad season, is it? And I think this is the problem where what Saints are going to have, because of how successful they've been, especially recently, is that at the moment it seems like failure, and it's just crazy.
But I think the caveat to that though, mate, is who they played.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that, because you said that on Weekly, we've already highlighted that on Round Unpacked on this and on Weekly, is the fact that, Saints, in terms of teams above them last season, they've lost every time.
Yes.
They very nearly faltered to Catalan. This is another one. So, once it evens out a little bit and they start to play teams that are above them a bit more frequently, then we're going to get a real understanding of where Saints are. So I do think at the moment, yes, they are fourth. And look, you can only beat what's in front of you. Nobody's taking anything away from them. But this is just, again, another test for them in the fact that it's a team that, again, is above them or was above them last year. How do they fare? I think the interesting thing for me, and, is very similar to what I said about Castlefords' chances at Wakefield, is they come into this Saints with their middle unit in pretty good working order. I mean, Batchelor might drop out, but if Batchelor drops out, they can plug that hole quite easily. It's not a drama. Yeah. They've got the quality in the squad to make sure that they can draft somebody. I mean, Noah Stevens might get a view, and I've been calling out for Noah Stevens. I think Noah Stevens has been very unlucky not to play this far this year.
Delaney had a good game against Wakefield.
Delaney was outstanding. We know what Walmsley can do. We know what Matty Lees can do. So for me, from a Saints perspective, I think the fact that, and again, look at on the opposite side, no Havard, no Thompson. The two starting props for Wigan are out. Now, don't get me wrong. We know they've got a wealth of quality in those positions. We know that Dupree looks better this season. Walters was a revelation against KR in the front row. We know that, they've got certain players that can play for 20 minutes and get a man of the match performance. They have got players in their team there that can compensate for the two starting props being out. But Saints are more solid there. They have got those two front units. They've got a supporting cast that is their actual supporting cast. So again, very similar to what happened at Catalan, where I thought Walmsley was exceptional.
Yeah.
That middle unit of Saints, if they can get on top in that first half an hour, Saints have a chance.
Yeah.
But it's a slim one.
Yeah, and just thinking, yes, Noah Stevens has been 18th man loads for St. Helens this season. We've all been wanting to see him get his chance, and hopefully he does in this game, because I think Delaney showed him the way forward last week in terms of what you can do in terms of a breakout player. And I know he's played a few seasons now, Delaney, but you know what I mean in terms of a front rower. So yeah, it's I get what you're saying in that, and what I would say though is that Thompson and Thingy were out last week against KR, and look at what they did against KR forwards. So,
but again, Steph, if I may, I don't want to talk about them, but if I may, I don't want to forget what I'm about to say.
Yeah,
this might upset the KR brigade, but St. Helens pack is probably better in the certainly the front row. Because, and that's going to probably set a fuse under Bazza, but Walmsley's been there, done it, and got it. Rowan Hargreaves has not got anywhere near Walmsley's stats this year, or the impression that Walmsley's made. Jesse Sue is a great player, but Matty Lees, I'm sorry, but Matty Lees is a lot more consistent, and he is. There's no doubt about that. So for me personally, Delaney, Delaney's stats this year have been better. I mean, Delaney, if you remember, was in our team of the month in March. So Delaney as a supporting prop thus far this season has been more impressive than the supporting cast at KR. So again, and I agree with you. I mean, you're right. I mean, Wigan are not going to lose any sleep. So, but I do think they'll be challenged a little bit more down the middle than they were at KR last week.
Right. I think I'm looking at it rather than individuals. I was probably looking at it more of a collective. Because I think when you throw in the likes of Tanganoa at KR and stuff, and I don't want this to turn into a Saints via KR pack debate by any means. But I think the workload's potentially shared a bit more at KR, which is what's doing those stats. But you're right, from an individual player's perspective, Walmsley and Lees are massive assets for St Helens, and they really need them 2 players to step up to go toe to toe with what we know is a fabulous pack, even without Thompson at Wigan. So it will be one in the middle, and it will be really interesting to see if those Saints players are up for it. But again, I think you've got to look at who St Helens have played for those forwards as well, in terms of those numbers they've got.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And good evening to Carla. Good evening to Dawn. Great to have you with us for this. Well, this is why you're a part of Super League. Well, who else is doing this on a Thursday night before kickoff? By all means, get your mates onto it. Share the link to this particular program. Show your mates what they're missing. Get them involved. Get your referral. It makes sense. Unbelievable. But there, Carla's going. She's doing mum duties. Carla, you have a good one. Good to see you. Catch up a little bit later on. Always a pleasure to have Carla with us. Right, we've talked forwards there, but that's not the 2 I've picked out for the final discussion on this game. Okay, it's this. I think, and this is more from a go forward than defence. Defence, I mean, you can't believe it, but Percival 66.6 efficiency, unbelievable. But that said, Percival is more about the shot. So I think I said this in weekly. It's not necessarily his efficiency. He changes games with his reads. Sometimes Percival will put a shot on and he just changes the whole focus of the season. But what's interesting from a go forward, Percival hasn't got the tries and the assists. That's clearly, but that's not to say he's not influenced tries. He has, but he's not got the try himself. He's not got the assist himself. But it's the busts. And I said to you, when Warrington played Saints in the Challenge Cup quarter-final, when Percival went off, as a Warrington fan, I was relieved.
Yeah.
Because Wellesby, for me, we know Wellesby's got the strike. We know in the halves at the minute, I mean, again, the big debate, will Whitby play? Will it be Lomax? I think it'll be Lomax, based on the Paul Wellens interview. Go and see how he deflects the Whitby conversation. Very interesting. I think he'll go with experience. I think he'll go with Lomax. And if they get battered, that's just going to add fuel to the fire. It really is. And I feel for him. He's damned if he does. He damns if he don't. But Percival adds extra dimension to attack. He is incredible. When he went off, their attack went. It was a one-man show with Wellesby. What Percival gives them is balance, and he gives them genuine threat down the left-hand side. 24 busts, 6 breaks. I mean, and he's played 1 game less. And we all wax lyrical over Wardle. So when you actually consider 1 game less, and he's made 17 more busts and 1 more clean break than Wardle, and made more meters than Wardle. That's what Percival brings. He's a very, very good, safe pair of hands in attacking phases. And I think if Percival comes back and plays well, if the pack get on top, that's when Saints, for me, stand the chance. If they brought Percival back a little bit too early from his HIO, he's not quite right, and the pack don't get on top, it's a cakewalk. I think it could be very messy, quite frankly. But they need players like Percival to deliver stats like that on the day. And like I say, I've gone Wigan. I have gone Wigan. But, it's boring to think that we're going to watch a game for 80 minutes and it's not a contest. I think it should be a contest. If these guys turn up, Steph, I think we could have a contest on our hands.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Percival is massive for St Helens. I think more, when we talk about defensive, I think it's just that trust as well. The defensive line being together, and that makes such a massive difference when you know what that player is going to do without having to think about it. And it's the same in attack. When you've got your shapes and you know that players, you can throw a no-look pass because you know that player's going to be there. But I think that's what he brings, and he also brings that leadership role. A senior squad player who the other lads will look up to, and a bit like you being relieved when he went off. When he's playing, that will instill confidence in those younger players that are in there as well. So he's a massive part of things when Saints do things well. So if he's playing, it's a massive boost for them. Just on relation to the Whitby point, this could be, for me, it's going to be controversial, but this could be the sacking of Wellens, because I think after how he played last week and how much the Saints fans were raving about him, to then drop him and bring in Lomax, who they've been very critical on, and then if Wigan put 40 on them, that's Wellens gone.
Lomax,
it's huge. It shouldn't be underestimated how big a call that is, only because of how much the Saints fans were raving about him. He's going to be the next thing since sliced bread. Well, if he's going to be the next thing since sliced bread, chuck him against Wigan and let him prove it. because he did well against Wakefield. He played really, really well, very impressive. So let's see if he can do it against Wigan. You've got nothing to lose. So
it could. I mean, for me, I find, look, it's like Aaron Lindop, isn't it? You know, there's certain players in every squad that you get excited over. You do,
yeah.
And I get that. I just think that, you know, what upsets me a little bit, you know, a player that has put so much into the Vedv is Johnny Lomax, and he's still got it. I mean, players come in and out of form. That's what happens. But Johnny Lomax on his day is one of the best in the comp. And he is, no doubt about that.
His form has been poor.
His form's been poor. But could Dick Galvin, I mean, all I would say about Johnny Lomax is if Wellens does put Lomax in over Whitby,
yeah,
he's got to repay the faith.
He has, but for me, it's a bit like Dave. It's a bit like Briscoe at Lee. Yeah, when Briscoe, you know, look at how well he's playing at LFC now as well, by the way. But when he got injured, and then we brought Hanley in, and then Hanley took his chance, he never got dropped again. Now, for me, you don't change, especially when that's happened and he's played well and they've won. You don't change it for the week after, because it could have an opposite effect on that lad in terms of what am I supposed to do? I've earned it based on my performance against Wakefield, and now you're just dropping me because it's Johnny Lomax. That's the problem I've got from looking at it from a Saints fan perspective. Is this young lad, we really like him, he's played really well, we've won, and against a decent Wakefield side as well, and then you take him out and we get panned by 40 because Johnny's back, who's been not so good this season. That's going to go down like a lead balloon with the Saints fans. Even more so with a 40-point loss, if that's what happens. Well,
if that's what happens. But what I would say as well, and to crystallise your point, Robertson has been brought in early and he's undroppable.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen Dylan Sambu, who has come in, Dion Sambu, sorry, who's come in and has played very, very well on the wing. I think it's a big game for Lewis Murphy if he comes in, because, you know, he's been plagued by injuries. We know Murphy's a talent. There's no doubt about that. But the interesting thing about Saints this year is it's these young players that have come in. Whitby, Robertson, Sambu. I think Noah Stevens should have been in and around the squad. I really do. They're getting excited about and are actually running the blood to water for the Vedv. So for me personally, I agree. I think, you know, should Whitby start based on his performance last week against, let's be fair, good opposition? Absolutely. But again, big call, because Wellens is either, you know, it's one of them, and he's damned if he does it, because if he does, it's going to be, he succumbed to fan pressure. And if he doesn't and he loses, he's getting the sack. It's just.
I think the fans would. I don't want to speak for a Saints fan because I'm not one, but I think given what I know that they like and what a lot of fans are like, I think they would take a loss with him in there rather than the other way around of not putting him in and taking a loss with Lomax, because they know he's not been playing that well this season, Lomax. So they'll say it wouldn't have made any difference if we played Lomax. Whereas I think Whitby, it's the unknown in it. We don't know what he can do. So why not? You know, Wellens hasn't got anything to lose in that respect. I don't think he's he's got more to lose by not playing him, I think.
Right. Well, bringing this discussion to a close, if I may. It's great. It's great. And we said this after the show on, you know, a little bit of a one for the people who are watching us behind the scenes. After the show on Tuesday, Steph said to me, we've just given everybody with the Catalan and the NRL Europe how you can debate with respect. You can disagree, but you can do it with respect. And we're doing that here in the fact that, you know, we're debating here. We might have slight differences of opinion, but we're doing it with grace, we're doing it with class, and that's what Super League Raw is all about. What I would say, and I think that this for me would show a real lack of leadership and a real lack of confidence on the part of Wellens. I think what he might do, and it'd be interesting if he does, right? Because if he was to do this, I think it's just weak. If he puts Lomax in and puts Whitby on the bench, I'm sorry, but you need to load that bench with forwards and with your hooker. It should be 3 forwards and Mbai or Clark. That's what it should be. Yeah. But if you see Whitby on the bench, that is a complete lack of confidence on behalf of Wellens, because what he's doing, he's pacifying. And that would show, for me personally, weak leadership. So I'll be very interested to see if he does that. We'll find out an hour before kickoff.
What do you think he'll do? What do you think he'll do?
For me personally, for me personally, I think St. Helens are at that point now where, and with the age profile of the squad and with how they're playing, I don't think the most ardent Saints fan believes that they will win Super League this season.
No.
I just don't believe it. So for me, if I'm Wellens, I'm thinking I play Whitby. I just play him. Not because the fans have told me to. He's earned the right to play. I thought they looked better attacking. I thought there was something about them that just looked better. That shape looked better for me personally. So for me, if I'm Wellens, and I'm not, Paul's got far more accreditations than me, albeit you are actually looking at an accredited rugby league journalist. I'm only going to say that once, but I am. But that's another story, getting me past this week, and Mr. Sales will be coming very soon, but you won't hear us talking about that any further. That's it. We're not going any further with that. But anyway, but yeah, for me, that's what I'd do. If I was Wellens, I would be doing that. I'd play Whitby.
What do you think he'll do though?
I think he'd play Lomax.
Yeah,
I genuinely do, and like you say, on those decisions. Yeah, exactly. On those decisions, you're either Henry VIII's wives or you're not. Anyway, that's by the by. Let's get into it. Let's me and you have a right good ding dong, because, of course, we're going head to head on Saturday. Really looking forward to this. Brilliant game. Fantastic game. Both teams have got a few injury concerns going into this one. But one thing's for certain, midday kickoff, the atmosphere will be brilliant. We know the Lee Leopards fans always give us a great reception when we're down there. Really looking forward to seeing the Be the Roarers this weekend. 3-7 in the favour of Warrington. No real surprises there, I wouldn't say. I mean, the last few games between these two have been right good quality ding-dongs. I mean, it really is close between Warrington and between Lee. I mean, no quarter is given between these two sides. Lee have won their last 3 home games against the Wire. The Wolves' last win at the Leopards was a 28-16 Challenge Cup win at Hilton Park on the 20th of April 2008. That's how far back. Hey, knowledge, Steph. Hey, I do me research. Josh Charlie has scored a try in each of the Leopards' last 4 games against the Wire, and of course is in the squad. So that's an interesting one. 5th against 7th. I mean, look, it's really, really tight. It's really tight between these two. There's about a point in it in attack. There's 6 points in it in defence. But they always deliver. There's a bit, you talk about Wigan, Lee. I mean, the beautiful thing is, Warrington have got real good history with Saints and with Wigan. And what's beautiful here is this one's developing as well over the last few years. It's a genuine rivalry, and it's befitting of a rivals round. It's never going to be Lee against Wigan ever, but I'll tell you what, it's a good second best. This is a cracking game of rugby league that we're going to be seeing. I mean, look at it everywhere you look on this. The tries 23-21, very little in it in terms of tackle efficiency. Conversions just 6% in it. Neck and neck on penalties, mate. This has got everything going for it. It's just a shame that we're not going to see some of the better players on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been robbed of George Williams, Harrison. You've got another one, haven't you? Who else was? There's 3 in total in the full Warrington.
Yeah, so Jimmy Harrison's out, which is a real shame. He's gone. We've also lost, of course, George Williams.
Yeah.
So George Williams has gone in this one as well. I'm trying to think who the other one may be. King is back. Yeah. So I would expect it be a tie and King in the centre. Ashton again is in the squad, but he's playing on one. Like, I don't care anyway. I think they've got to make a decision with Ashton. Yeah. I really do. Matt Duffy obviously at full back. It'll be Fulis on the other wing. The front row, like I say, Harrison out. So Ben Curry will go back into probably second row. I would expect Luke Yates. I think Curry will go back to loose forward. I think they'll keep Holroyd and Fitzgibbon. Yeah. It'll be Paul Vaughan, and it will be Musgrove starting with Philbin. Don't be surprised if you see Max Wood. Max Wood, he had a great game. Honestly, he was sensational in the reserves game against Hull FC. Honestly, he was the difference. He was him and a lad called Tom McKinney were the difference second half. So don't be surprised if you see Max Wood. In closing, I mean, again, I'll come to you with regards to I'll box Warrington off. Look, Warrington. Neither of these two teams are in good form. Let's be honest about it. Neither of these two teams at this moment in time are playing consistently good rugby league. They're grinding out wins. They're having patches of quality in their game. That's what they are. Let's be crystal on that, which makes this fascinating. It makes it interesting. The interesting bit here is, who did he put at 6? There's a lot of people thinking that Stefan Ratchford will start 6, and he possibly will. However, do not be surprised, and this will come as a surprise to many who are watching, do not be surprised if Warrington Wolves put Danny Walker at standoff. Do not be surprised. Because
he's got a good kicking game, to be fair.
Got a good kicking game, but don't. I mean, and the reason I say that is, I believe that they have been looking at Danny Walker at 6 this week. Now, whether they go with that or not, I don't know. But he's got good ball skills. We know he's got a bit of flair, bit of pace. He's got a good kicking game as well. So that's going to be interesting. And of course, if that does happen, then obviously the question there is, Sam Powell can't do a full 80. They might have Ratchie on the bench. Ollie Leyland, of course, I don't see Ollie Leyland getting anywhere near the starting 17. I really don't. Because again, many people would say, well, surely it'd be Leyland. No. Leyland, for me, is right down the pecking order at Warrington. And let me tell you now, had it not been for the Williams injury, he would be out on loan. That would have been announced this week, but it's not happened because of Williams' injury. So Ollie Leyland isn't fancied at this, and that's since Vegas. I think he stood out like a sore thumb at Vegas, and he's never recovered from that. So I think Warrington have got a bit of surgery to do. It's going to be very, very interesting. You've got Ewan Irwin in there as well, who is actually a halfback in the reserves. He's a good player, Ewan Irwin. Do I think they'll chance it? I just don't. But it would be very, again, going back to your point and our debate over Whitby a minute ago, what we know about Sam is he's not afraid of putting kids in.
No,
he's done it last year. You know, he's done it last year. It could be a Ewan Irwin moment. Now, don't get me wrong, Ewan's a good player. I just don't. I see him in reserves. I don't think he's at the level yet. I just don't. I think it's too early for him. I'd be very, very surprised. Kai Taylor-Ray all day. Aaron Lindop all day. Tom McKinnon. If he's in that 21-man squad, I'm saying to you, Steph, if this kid gets a game, I mean, you saw him against Lee. This kid's a player. So I know, and I think Ewan's got a future, don't get me wrong. At this moment in time, though, do I think he's Super League? I don't. I think that'd be a massive risk. So I think Warrington here, it's a patchwork quilt. Varney in defence, Finger, I just don't think he's 100%. Even though King is back, and I think he will be, we're carrying Ashton as a knock. There's no doubt about that. But I think the saving grace for Warrington is, and you'll talk about Lee with as much gusto as I've just done Warrington, I'm sure, in a minute. I think the saving grace for Warrington is they're coming up against the Lee Leopards side that are very, very reflective of Warrington this season. You don't know what Lee you're going to get. Lee have also got problems that you'll talk about in a second. So I think that possibly is a bit of a leveler, but history is on the side of Lee. I've gone Lee. And if we sit down for that Italian at 8 o'clock on Saturday night, my friend, and Warrington have won, let me tell you now, nobody will be enjoying the vino more than me.
No, and quite possibly it could happen. It's not beyond that. You know, yes, you've had some unlucky injuries with George Williams. I thought was probably our only really very good player against FC. Harrison was pretty decent as well, to be fair, but he's a massive loss for you. We've also now lost Tessin, which is massive for Lee in terms of the young lads that we've already got in our back line. It's going to be another one coming in, whether AJ Towes comes in, whether Brad Badrock comes into the centre position, that could happen. So it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, Brad Dwyer coming back into the squad after being in the reserves. The big one for me, I think, is getting Robbie Mulhern back has been massive for Lee. And also, if we can get Josh Charlie back, I think where we spoke about Percival earlier, you know, that experience, that confidence, that's what Josh brings to those young lads who he's probably going to be playing inside him. So that's massive as well. So it's going to be a fascinating game. What I'll be looking at, and I think this could be the difference, is whether Penne steps up again like he did last week against Castleford. That was probably the best game I've seen from Aaron Penne in a while. He's obviously, well, we know he has because it was in Lamb's press conference. Him, Tutavaki, they've all, Brad Dwyer, have all been told by Lammy where he's expecting them to be. And we definitely saw a reaction from Tutavaki and Penne last week. So it's going to be interesting how they go against Warrington's very good forward pack. It's on paper, it's probably the closest game of the round, I would say. If you look at those stats that were on the screen before, they were near enough identical. So the only thing going in Lee's favour is that Lee have won every game at the LSV since they've been the Leopards. So Warrington will want to be putting that one right, and especially after the negativity over the Paul Vaughan sending off last time. A lot of bitterness in that game, which probably deflected from how well Lee played, but also how well Warrington responded to that as well. If you remember, they were fantastic in coming back in that game and nearly got back right into it. So if it weren't for the timer running out, so it's going to be a great game, Dave. I'm really looking forward to it. I just hope Rugby League's the winner.
Well, we'll be the winner, mate, because we're in each other's company for the day. Always good. And that's what Rugby League's all about. You know, one of the wonderful things about Steph coming on board and us becoming mates is these are great. I mean, you know, it's mad, isn't it? Because it's now got to the point where we are, when you get when you get your tickets, when you get the fixture list put out, normally you ring the Wigan game, you ring the Saints game. We start ringing the league games, the Huddersfield games, because we know we're all going to be together.
In terms of a derby as well, just on your point on the Wigan Lee thing or whatever, as we found out in the quiz the other night, it's only 8.8 miles, I think it was, between.
It's not far.
Which is closer than what the LSV is to the Brick. So actually, this is a proper rivalry, and I'm probably sure it's not too far off that distance to Widnes, from the Widnes rivalry. So this really is becoming a rivalry, and let's hope that continues, because two clubs with great fan bases, we should be getting sellouts for these games.
And what I love about, and again, it's a great tribute to both clubs, is the fact that, I've been to the LSV now the last 2 seasons, and it's been outstanding. The Lee fans, class, absolute class. Warrington, it's a really, really good one. It really is outstanding. For me, exactly what I said about Percival, it's a massive bonus that Tessie knew he's out. I mean, that is a huge, but if Warrington are going to get joy in this game, it's going to be because of the centres. I mean, great news that Ethan O'Neill's back, though. I mean, let's be fair. Had O'Neill still been out, that again, I mean, Frankie Alton's been outstanding. Outstanding. But I think, from a Warrington perspective, the fact that the first choice centres are out, and perhaps Warrington's centres of 2024, I mean, Aaron Lindop will possibly be classed as Warrington's first choice centre alongside King this season. But let's be fair, last season, the combination of King and Roderick Ty was superb. So I think that for me is a real bonus for Warrington. But let's get into the ones that are picked out. And I picked these 2 out because even though they're great players, you talk about the inconsistency of both of these 2 sides this year. We know what quality both teams have got within them. I hope you'd agree with me that these 2 players have been a little bit off sorts thus far this season. And arguably, before the ball is kicked, they're classed as 2 of the best hookers in the comp. And I think neither, at this moment in time, have really hit the straps. And I think this is key. If Danny isn't at standoff, if they decide to go with Ratch and they leave Danny in the hooking position, what we know about these 2 players, Danny's got a better kicking game, and you'd have to concede that. There's no doubt about that. Danny Walker has got more to his game. In terms of variety than Edwin. That said, what Edwin's got, you can't buy. I mean, that pass last year. Oh, but Salford. Oh, beautiful. That's what we're talking about. So, Edwin Ipape, class at what he does. But you look at these stats here. Both only scored 1 try or star. Probably 1 off, maybe 1 or 2 off where you'd expect him to be. Assists are assists. What we know about hookers is they're in there somewhere. They just didn't get the final ball. The bus couldn't be closer. 9-8. The breaks 2-1. Dummy runs. Nobody has run more from dummy half this season than Edwin Ipape. 39 to Danny's 23. But Danny's doing a bit more in defence. Danny's got a better kicking game. I think these 2 players on the day, especially with areas of the team that are under a little bit of pressure because of players missing, etc. I think these 2 stalwarts for both sides whoever plays better in the 9 position, if that's where Danny plays, could be the difference. That could be the one shirt in this game that dictates the outcome.
Definitely. What I would say with Ipape, because obviously I've seen him a lot more than what I've seen Walker. Ipape tends to start the season pretty slow. He's consistently done it at his time with like been a slow start, and then it seems to just from the second third of the season starts to really kick on. I don't know why that is. It just that's what it seems to be. He's also been suffering by not being behind a pack that's been dominant, which he's been used to. So I think that's also affected his game a little bit. But we're starting to see glimmers. And what I'd say, Castleford, he started to show a bit, scored a try. We'll start to see those big hits coming in soon. And once that starts happening, then watch out. And I wouldn't be surprised if this guy if Lee do win, he's man of the match on Saturday.
And vice versa. I think you're right. I think both of these two, and that's why I picked these two out, because I think we both agree. You admire Walker, I admire Ipape. We both admire quality players. These two, when they've both got great game, and I think this is going to be a really intriguing contest. A couple of milestones. Jack Hughes, 350 career appearances if he starts or is in the 17, which is good. Josh Charlie needs one try to draw level with Alan Smith in 28th place in the list of all-time try scorers in the British game. He needs 2 tries to reach 250 in Super League, which would be a hell of a milestone. Stephen Ratchford needs 4 points to draw level with Easton Harris in 10th place in the Super League all-time point scorers. And Mark Sneed, Mark Sneed will move ahead. Did it actually? Was that last week? That was last week. He moved ahead from Lee Breers to 7th place in terms of kicking against Leeds. But yeah, look, some great milestones there for those players. Congratulations to them. I can't wait. For 2 reasons. One, it should be a great game of rugby league, but more importantly, we're going to have a great day together, mate. Right, let's get into these. Look, I'm very mindful of the time, but these two shouldn't take an awful lot of time. I think it's right that we've talked in detail, certainly about Wigan against Saints, the league game, and the whole game without question. These maybe not so much for obvious reasons. I mean, go and catch the Luke Robinson press conference. Wow. Good news. I think Ollie Wilson's back. That's good news. But history, of course, goes away. Leeds Rhinos 3-2. Of course, Huddersfield haven't won all season. Try scored 25-14. No surprise. But tackle efficiency, interesting this. Even though Huddersfield are way off the mark, 90.2. Conversion efficiency, that goes the way of Huddersfield as well. That's one area of Leeds' game that hasn't quite been right. Penalties 32-31. So again, very, very close. But yeah, Ollie Wilson back, I believe. Yes, he is. There he is, the number 8. He's back. That's a big bonus. That's a massive bonus. But that said, Leeds, Callum Watkins back, and he will be on the bench, is what Brad Arthur said in his press conference. So he will be there, but he'll be a starting place on the bench. No Mikola Jeledzki. That's a blow for the Leeds Rhinos. But you look at that Leeds Rhinos squad, and you know the lack of confidence where Huddersfield are at. It's Huddersfield. Can anybody see Huddersfield winning this?
No, I don't think so. Not the way Leeds have been playing, not the way Connor's been playing. I think Watkins is going to be massive for them coming in. Ollie Wilson's definitely going to make an impact. We've been so impressed with him. Obviously, that wasn't an injury; that was suspension, wasn't it? 2 game suspension. But I just think, I mean, look at what Catalan did to them last week. And this isn't a dig at Huddersfield. It's a realistic, with the hand that you've been dealt. I can't see any way in the memory of man that you're going to go to Leeds and win, and also how well Leeds have been playing as well, and the confidence that they've got. So the only, obviously, the big one for Leeds is not having Brodie Croft at the moment, but they've been, Frawley will fit in there. Do I think Frawley's the greatest player? No, but he'll do a job for them against what I imagine won't be much of a test from Huddersfield. They'll try hard, but Leeds will just have too much quality. And who would bet against James McDonald going over in this one?
Yeah, what a performance last week! Incredible performance last week from him. Obviously, again, good to see Georgie Flanagan. Again, the one thing that Huddersfield can enjoy is the emergence of people like George Flanagan. I think
Gagai's been good.
Guy's been good. Massive release that Sam Hewitt didn't get a ban. I mean, I was expecting him out for this. Maybe the rugby league gods were shining on him for a change with that decision, maybe. But yeah, look, I mean, I wish Huddersfield nothing but the best of luck. And look, they've still got a half decent squad there, but I think the momentum is with Leeds. I think Leeds look the part. I think Connor's in incredible form this season, and it's not surprising that it's Connor that have picked out. Will he haunt the Giants? I think he will. I really do. I mean, at the end of last season, there was the Connor out, Connor in brigade at Huddersfield. There's no doubt about it. Connor in this form, you'd have in your team all day long. It's been, I'll challenge you in a minute where Brad Arthur's concerned, but let's quickly give tribute here to Jake in terms of his stats. 1 try, 10 assists, 15 tackle busts, 32 attacking kicks that have managed the game and actually got a lot of products off the back of it, and 64 kicks in general play, which again, quality of managing the game. The one thing you will be disappointed with is he's missed 10 kicks, 24 out of 34. But you at the start of the season said person with a point to prove at Leeds Rhinos was Brad Arthur. You'd have to say what he's getting out of Jake Connor would suggest that he deserves a bit of credit, because let's be fair, this man has been very hard to manage over his Super League career. And have we ever seen a 7-game stretch with Jake Connor where he's been as consistent as he's been this season?
Yeah, and he's definitely enjoying himself there, and I think that's a big factor in if he feels loved, that he's got his arm around him or whatever Brad Arthur's doing. And you're right, I did say Brad Arthur had a lot to prove, because he came in with a bit of a fanfare last season, and some disappointing results towards the back end of the season to not make the playoffs. But a lot of pressure on him from the documentary, a lot of fan expectations, and rightly so with what he was saying and the way that was perceived, which was great for the Leeds fans. But I think he does deserve a lot of credit in terms of how Leeds are playing. I think he deserves a lot of credit in terms of how Jake Connor's playing. What I would say with Jake Connor is I think this could be a big test for him on Saturday, because I think this is where Jake Connor's gremlins can come in. You know what I'm going with this, because he'll want to make a point, and especially given where Huddersfield are at the moment, he'll really want to stick one on Huddersfield. And it's whether that goes the real positive way, and you'd have to say the way he's been this season, it should be, and we all hope it will be. It can go the other way, and obviously we all want to see the good Jake Connor, because he's brilliant to watch, and I think we will see that, and I think that a lot of that is down to Brad Arthur. And you're right, I don't think you want to let that go. I think he's learned a lot while he's been at Leeds in that environment.
Yeah, it's been a sensational start to the season for Jake Connor. But yeah, look, for me, I love the Cowbell Army. I love the guys down there at Huddersfield. This is going to be perhaps a very testing night. We wish you nothing but the best of luck. And then we go to the biggest rival in Super League, Catalan Dragons taking on the Salford Red Devils. Before we go into this, it'd be amiss of me not to say Jared O'Connor's going to make his 100th Super League appearance in that game against Huddersfield. Credit to Jared O'Connor. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, there was question marks over, was he a Super League player? Well, he's righted all that. I mean, he absolutely. He's a great player for Leeds. Right? Hall needs just 2 tries to draw level with Mick Sullivan in 19th place in the all-time British game in terms of try scoring. So we wish Ryan well with that. Of course, the Cowbell Army don't. Catalan Dragons then. 21-18 over the Salford Red Devils. 9th against, unbelievable we're saying that, 9th against 11. Only 2 places between them. And we're probably going to say it's a shoo-in win, but there's only 2 places between them. Obviously, Salford just that win against Huddersfield this season. Massive disparity in terms of tries scored. Tackle efficiency going the way of the Catalan. Conversions probably won't come into it. The penalty count, 48 to 30. I mean, both coaches won't be happy with that, but 48 for Salford, pretty grim. The attack, 15.7 average this year for Catalan, 6.1 for Salford. Ouch. Yeah. Defence, 16 per game for Catalan, 38.5 for Salford. Ouch. So, I mean, that's pretty grim. Salford's last win in Perpignan was a 46-14. What would Matt tell you? that. 46-14 win in 2022. Romain Everett and Clement Martin are in the squad for the Catalan Dragons, replacing Artur Romano, and Jordan Desiree, of course, has gone to the Catalan Dragons. Before I bring Steph in on this, let's go through some milestones, and there's a lot of them in this game, so here we go. Luke Keary, 1 appearance for 250 in his career. Tavita Satai, he'll play 150th appearance. Tommy Makerson, just 5 points needed for 1,500. Is this where he breaks his duck for the Catalan Dragons? Joe Mellor is a double for Mellor. If he plays, and he will play, 300 career, 200 Super League. Well done to Joe. Great effort. Joe Shorrock's 1 appearance for 100 in Super League. So a lot of milestones probably going to get broke here for this in this game. These are the 2 squads. Over to you, Steph. I mean, look, again, on paper, there's a bit of quality there. There is a bit of quality there for Salford, but there's just not enough, is there?
That's exactly what I was just about to say. There's just not enough. And obviously we saw what Catalan did away at Huddersfield last week. And so we know Huddersfield are obviously struggling at home. Yeah, that's my saying. Interesting, with Matt's come in on this one. He must be a glutton for punishment.
No, he's looking for divine inspiration. Good on you, Matt. Good on you.
Well, we'll give Salford. I mean, to be fair, if you're starting on that squad there, you're going Braley, yes, Nicarima, yeah, Mellor, Shorrocks, Masters, Ormeroyd, Sangari, Ben Helliwell, Kai Morgan, Taki Chan, Johnny Vaughan coming in from obviously Saints.
But then look over the other side.
That's the problem, isn't it? That they're all pretty decent players. It's just not the Salford that. It's just been decimated, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's a point of conversation. Really? Catalan's going to win, and they're going to win comfortably.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get straight to it then. In terms of, we have to pick something out. We have to talk about something. We have to give it. This is Super League run. This is captain's run. We always pick something out to talk about. It's past against future. I mean, look. This is interesting for me. Nicarima's only played 4 games this season. Keary's played all 7. And when you say, and this is more of a conversation on Keary, at the start of the season when we're going through the squads, and we've seen Keary in the NRL, we're thinking, way up. This could be a genuine contender for Malasteel. We've seen nothing like to this point.
No.
Nicarima, against Huddersfield, of course, was outstanding. Nicarima will be up for this. There's no doubt. And that, for me, is the only real light for Salford. I think if Nicarima is up for it and has a wow of a game, I think they still lose, but they probably make a good fist of it. So I think Nicarima is critical for Salford. Yeah. But I think Keary at some point, he's been getting slowly better, but at some point Keary has got to deliver on the raps that we gave him at the start of the season. And don't get me wrong, he is a great player. But at the moment, for whatever reason at Catalan, he hasn't hit the heights that we were expecting.
No, I think we've all been a bit disappointed with Keary, and that's probably sad to say given his history, 3-time NRL winner, all that kind of stuff. I was expecting him to come in and set Super League on fire. It looks like it's the old Aussie adage with him, and he's just playing an extra season where he shouldn't really be playing. But that could be that he's just learning and getting used to the thing, and he could just explode at any moment. Nicarima, I've been really impressed with this season. I think in a beaten team, he's been, at some points, outstanding. That Huddersfield game, especially. I know obviously the team they were playing against wasn't the greatest, but he really shone in that game. And I think other clubs may look at Nicarima if it all goes wrong with Salford. Then I wouldn't be disheartened if Lee had a look at it.
I'm pointing at you exactly, mate. Absolutely, mate. I think you put Jaden Nicarima in he just gives you running flair. Yes. There's a lot of rumour Dion Cross is on his way to you, isn't there? A lot of rumour floating around Super League that Dion could be off and maybe Lee is the destination. But I'll tell you, I think you've hit the nail there. I think if I'm the recruitment team at Lee, 100%. The only problem is though he would be classed as a overseas one, which should probably be a problem.
Yeah, well, I think Lee are going to have to offload a couple of overseas players if they don't step up and perform.
So who is that? So obviously, in terms of Ben, you've lost Ben. The replacement has come in today for Ben.
Yeah.
From your perspective, knowing your overseas players as you do,
Yeah.
if tomorrow you had the opportunity of Lee to get Jaden Nikarima as your new number 6, who do you offload?
I would offload either Tutamaki or Penne at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But between them, if you had to make a call, who would it be?
I would say Tutamaki. I think Penne showed his capabilities against Castleford. I think with him, it's a bit attitude at the moment. And obviously, what I would say about Penne is he had quite a severe injury at the beginning. He didn't come into the team until round 5, I think it was, or 6. He had shoulder surgery. So that could be, when you're coming back from surgery, that can affect players in terms of their confidence and stuff. I think Penne showed us last season in a few games he has got the potential. So I would be looking at the moment to Tavaki, but it took Tom Amon a while to fit in. Yeah. So,
but he's a different build. He's a different player. I just don't, I just don't see. I mean, again, I could be wrong, but I call this right from the opening, but that friendly, and I said to you, I don't know. And I'm still don't know, and we're 7 rounds in. But hey, he could be a slow starter. He could come good. I don't know, but I think you've hit the nail on the head. If the option was there at the minute to jettison Tavaki and bring in Nicker, that could be revolutionary to Lee Lepperton's season. Mate, absolutely.
Could be a swap with Salford with the way.
Yeah, could be. Look, I mean, Greg Roach in the chat talking about the Salford team. Let's bring the Salford team back up. He's absolutely right, isn't it? I mean, talk about an eye. Where is it? Where are we? He said, where is it? Yeah, on the bench. Who's on the bench? Where's Van Houten? Oh, he's not there. He's talking about Johnny Vaughan, isn't it? That's what he's talking about. Johnny Vaughan.
Breakfast.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely outstanding. And I agree with Greg. One of the best breakfast shows ever. Would you, in this day and age of woke, would Denise Van Houten get away with the incredible line that she once said on the Big Breakfast, on your knees, Denise? Would she ever get away with that ever again? Probably not. Absolute comedy gold, Johnny Vaughan and Denise Van Houten. Absolute legendary stuff. And all I would say about Mr. Roach, you know what? One of the things I'm really looking forward to is in Magic. He's my mate, Mr. Roach. He's a pleasure to be around. He's been one of my biggest supporters ever since I started on this project. Anytime I've got, and that's no disparaging to any of my other members, but I have to say, really looking forward to spending some quality time with the big man at Magic Weekend. Absolute legend. And I know that everybody in the Super League Royal fraternity who have met Master Roach would agree. An absolute gentleman amongst men. Right, there's only enough time to do this one. Hey, we're taking you right up to kick off. Here we go. It's time for this.
Are you sick and tired of winning your bets every week? Want to contribute to the bookies' Christmas party? The bets to ignore when predicting the score. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bet Steph.
Yeah, I'm on overtime this week, Dave. I'm going to have to check what my contract says in terms of overtime payments.
Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing well, mate. We're doing well. Oh, way up there, Matty Timms is saying it. Greg Roach, the Super League Raw Man of Steel. Greg Roach, the red wine's kicking in. You're absolutely right, Greg. It probably is kicking in. I will think a lot different about what I said later this week. But anyway, over to you, Mr. Sale. Talk us through your accumulator set.
Yeah, so I've got a bit left field. I thought, while I've not been winning anyway, I may as well chuck some out there for this one. So I'm going to go from bottom to top on this one and explain why. So Ollie Gildar, I think, has been in great form for KR, and I think he looked really threatening when they played Hull FC. So I've just got. I don't think he scored against Wigan, did he? So I think he's due a try as well. So I've tipped Ollie to get over against FC in this one. Max Jarrett, I've assumed he's going to come into the side tonight, and I think he's going to play a big part in this game. So I've tipped him to get over against Castleford, and this is where I've probably gone a bit left field. So James McDonald, of course, scores 4 tries last week against a weaker side or a similar side in Huddersfield. I just think that combination he's got with Connor at the moment, I can see him going over. But as Alex Sharp keeps reminding me, Matt Frawley always scores against Huddersfield. So that's a special tribute to Alex Sharp. I know you'll be listening at some point. I've gone for my mate and the lad who I rate highly, Matt Frawley, to get over. But what that has done, and if this is worth £1 in anybody's money, because if this one comes off, it's 98-1. So that means, Dave, you bet £1 on this.
Well, you're going to lose it, but I have to say, I think Jowett's a goer. I think Jowett's a goer. It's hard to think how McDonald can score. 4 against 4 last week.
He was everywhere.
So that's good value. Obviously, the Frawley one has tipped it to the dizzy heights that you've got it to. Gildart's always good for a try. Always good for a try. So I think it's really good, bar the Frawley one.
It's left field. As I said, the reason I've done it is because if I didn't put this in and he does score, Alex Sharp will never ever let me live it down. So
I tell you what I'm surprised at, because genuinely, folks, right, and I mean this in all sincerity, Steph sent me that and I literally cut and pasted it and threw it in. I'm amazed SA's not there for 7 in a row.
Well, I think the reason why I've gone that is at some point it's got to come to an end, and I think KR are going to target him, and I think he's not going to get close to the line. I just think they're going to do a number on him, and like you put the comparison up with JWH, when he's close to the line, who do you think's going to be stood in front of him?
Well, you'd like to think it'd be JWH. I'm looking forward to it. Look, what a great hour and a half. And we when we set out, this was an hour's show. We've got an hour and a half tonight. But do you know what? We get on. I love spending time with me mucker. We love rugby league, me and our staff. We like having a good chat about it. That's what we like to do. So you members are really lucky. The fact that we're so passionate, we love the game, and we like each other's company. You've had a really good night tonight and the lead up to Thursday. And this is why we need your help. When you're watching this, whether you're live now, whether you're not, tell your friends about us. Get them involved. Get them onto this. Let's grow together. We believe we've got a great product. We're getting recognised. Like I said, I'm not making a big thing about what I said earlier in the show. I'm really not. But here's one for you. We've got some really big hitters in the chat. This is the vision for Super League Raw. A lot of the press conferences now are done via Zoom. Yours truly can't do them all. So what would be lovely is to get the likes of, dare I say it, I'm just going to throw a few names out here. It'd be well up for it. Bazza Kingston, Matty Timms, Greg Roach, anybody else. If through Super League Raw we could get you an accreditation that got you on that Zoom, would you attend it? Would you do it? And would you report back? And we could bang it on the website and we could do whatever we wanted with it. Just a little thought for you to think about there. I'm not asking you, totally up to you.
Simo for Cass.
Simo for Cass, exactly. Now, look, you'd be representing the brand. You'd have to be very mindful of that. But what I would say is, first things first, I'm running before I'm walking here. I've got to get Greg and Steph over the line first. But yeah, the plan is that Super League Raw will have a presence in every press conference, certainly pre-match press conferences. But by getting your accreditation, for example, you are then entitled to go to the post-match press conference, and you can record that on your phone and send it. So we could actually get it whereby we could bang it on the website. So it's just something for you to think about. I'm not asking for an answer now, but just bear that in mind. Well, anyway, that's been a fantastic captain's run. As always, a massive thank you to my mate, Mr. Sale. We will be back. We're going to be back for the Final Whistle podcast, 8 o'clock on Sunday. Me and Steph, of course, will be doing Round Unpacked on Bank Holiday Monday. In the Sheds are coming throughout the weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, just 30 minutes away from Rivals Round. Enjoy your rugby league. Time to go over to the WhatsApp group. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.